Want to attend the legendary Thrivetime Show Business Workshop for free? Subscribe on iTunes, leave an objective review, and send us confirmation at info@thrivetimeshow.com to claim your tickets. Want to live in a van down by the river? Come by and see us at our Riverwalk offices, and we'll be able to make your dreams come true.
All right, Thrive Nation, we're talking today about the importance of not running your business like an airport or a government-subsidized industry that can afford to lose money. When you run a business, you got to understand the customer is going to vote with their dollars. And so I am in a unique situation with my companies in that we have more people that reach out to us all the time than we could possibly keep up with. So we have more people on a Friday or Saturday that want to get their hair cut at Elephant in the Room than we can keep up with. And so I have crafted an experience with my brother-in-law and with my teammates that is a very, very nice experience for the businesses. People like attending the workshops. They like going to Elephant in the Room. They like the atmosphere. And that is because I have sat down and thought about the senses. So, Chuck, if someone were to attend our workshop, talk to me about the sights they would see, the visuals that they would see.
Oh, there's positive affirmations and quotations all over the wall. There's uplighting everywhere. There's cool decorations. We've got like literally your story from your infancy in entrepreneurship when you were 19 or however old in your dorm room all the way up until recently. It's just a really awesome place for business owners to come. And we designed it like that on purpose.
Now, what about the sounds? The sounds. Oh, wow.
Overhead music, always. We always have something going on. There's not going to be any weird silences. We're going to make sure that during the conference you can hear us. We have speakers everywhere. The sounds have been taken care of.
And I have chosen each and every song. And now the smells.
Smells pinion everywhere. Until Paul Hood so graciously brings in Mexican food.
Oh, now the scripts and the interaction. Why? Talk to me about why we've taken the time to role play with our team to make sure that attendees to the conference are greeted quickly and with positivity.
It's right here what we were talking about, creating that wow experience. You can't just leave it up to chance. Things happen, people drift, people get off script, quote unquote. So you have to actually role play that out. You have to discuss it. I know that we probably discussed it, 5 times in a row the few days leading up to the conference. Hey, we need you two to be at the front door here. I need you to be in the midway point, greeting people, helping people find their seats, getting coffee. Whatever the people need, we're there to serve.
Now, what about just all of the visuals in general, Chuck? What kind of visuals can they expect to see if they've never been to the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters?
So one, we got the box that rocks. So we got the box that rocks. Was pretty cool. It's a little radio studio that you've built inside, and it's surrounded in glass. We've got the bar area. The place used to be a bar or pool hall, dance hall. I used to be a bunch of different things. So we kept the bar. It's a really cool place. People congregate, and you can get coffee. It's just set up with every need that a conference attendee is going to need. We have name tags for them. We have a boom book so they know they can follow along. It just looks awesome. Everything's prepared.
So we've thought about these things. And so what we're talking about today is don't run your business like an airport or a government-subsidized industry that can afford to lose money.
And so on that thread, not only have we thought about them, but we've improved every single time.
Every time.
We've reviewed, we've measured, and we've gone back and done, quote-unquote game film. We make sure that we're, hey, could this have been a little better? I heard about this. Maybe we should, get a live band because that'd be awesome. Stuff like that.
Chuck, have you heard about Team Lanyard? Have you heard about this?
Team Lanyard?
Yeah, I was working on this. I don't know if John talked to you about it yet.
No.
Basically, when you guys attend the workshop, you'll start to have coaches that are assigned just to your team.
Like a little grouping?
Yeah, well, like when you get to the workshop, it'll be like one business coach is assigned to every 15 guests.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, concerns, you go to that person. They're there to help you and answer all your questions as you go. And it's just kind of, again, we're always trying to improve the experience. Now, this is where this show comes from. I'm flying out to Owensboro, Kentucky to help out a church there, and I started making notes of all the things that not only the airlines, but that the airport itself does wrong. So at 2 o'clock, I leave the Thrive offices in Tulsa. I drive to Tulsa International Airport. At 2:30, I get to the airport. The Transport Authority, these guys are fabulous. The Transportation Security Administration, the TSA employees are sarcastic at best. I get on the airplane. They decide to turn off the air conditioning, so the plane is absolutely hot and nasty. I'm sweating. I feel sweat dripping down my lower back, then my neck. And as the announcements are made with apathy, I begin to realize that the person making the announcements doesn't care at all about their job. And then I begin to think about, gosh, There's a guy, because there's no music overhead, right? There's no music overhead. There's a guy within earshot that keeps talking in great detail about his body, his anatomy, and certain dysfunctions that are happening.
Belly button lint?
To the people around. No, he's talking about like crazy like rashes and body problems he has, and he's talking about his crotch. And I'm not kidding. And I can hear, and I can hear what he's saying because there's no overhead music. There's no beverages. There's nothing to distract me. It's just absolute silence on the plane for a half hour.
How did Chup get on that plane?
Chup, how'd you get on that plane? Now, here's what happens is I'm absolutely just not, there's nothing to distract you. It's hot.
It's awful.
There's no overhead music.
Terrible.
There's no beverages. And at 4:50, the announcement's made that our flight will be delayed. And I already know this is going to happen because I feel like it's almost like a spiritual curse that's been cast upon me by the travel demon, because every time I travel, something weird happens. We're in the air. We're in the air at 5:20, and I realize I can't move, and I want to scream, but this type of behavior would end up putting me in prison. But it is super hot on the plane. They're not serving alcoholic beverages, and there's no cool side of the pillow, Chup. You can't just flip over the pillow.
No.
And cool off.
It's not there.
My feet are sweating, and I keep wondering, how is it possible they can keep a 71 metric ton plane in the air, but yet there is absolutely zero will or ability to cool off the plane? I've got a fear of heights, a fear of claustrophobia, motion sickness, and there's no updates, there's no announcement, there's no music, there's just nothing. It's just terrible. And that's when I thought about, dude, Herb Keller with Southwest Airlines. Every time I fly with Southwest Airlines, the experience is totally different. And this is what Herb Keller has said numerous times, but here's a notable quotable from the founder of Southwest Airlines. And these guys get it right. They've turned a profit every year for 44 years in a row. He says, if the employees come first, then they're happy. He says, if the employees come first, then they're happy. And a motivated employee treats the customer well. The customer's happy, so they keep coming back, which pleases the shareholders. It's not one of the enduring mysteries of all time. It's just the way it works. And some of you who listen to the show all the time might say, yeah, but I thought you said to be intense with your employees if they're not willing to hold up to your certain standards. Right. So Herb Keller only hires high-energy, positive people. Herb Keller, the founder of Southwest Airlines, goes on to say, I tell my employees that we're in the service business, and it's incidental that we fly airplanes. So, Paul Hood, for somebody out there who has a business that has been offering chronically terrible customer service, can you explain what Herb Keller means when he says, I tell my employees that we're in the service business, and it's incidental that we fly airplanes?
Absolutely. At hoodcpas.com, we talk to people about that. What's their client? Because marketing is top of mind. Marketing isn't just putting ads on the radio or whatever. It's what people are saying about you. And Southwest Airlines, their attitude is they're lucky. The company is lucky to have us. We're their guests to fly. All the other airlines feel like we're lucky that they're actually allowing us on their planes. And it's kind of like a right versus a privilege type situation. And so at hoodcpas.com, we talk to people. How are your people being greeted? And all these things that you've listed here, Clay, that I've frankly learned from you.
So I would just encourage you this. During the break, I want you to write down on a sheet of paper who your ideal and likely buyers are. Write down who are your ideal and likely buyers, and your goal should be to wow those people. Stay tuned.
Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.
All right, Thrive Nation, welcome back to the Thrive Time Show on your radio. I recently just returned from a trip to Owensboro, Kentucky, where we're helping a great church out there called River City Church to implement workflows and systems. They have a great church, a great pastor who really does love the Lord, and all they need is help kind of building more systems so as more and more new guests enter the church, they can wow them systemically. And Chuck, when I got to church this past Sunday, dude, it was awesome to watch them. I was.
Nice.
I was. I actually drove in Owensboro, Kentucky. I was driving to their church, which is located in a former Service Merchandise across from a Walmart, a really nice building. And I'm driving by Shoney's. Shoney's is a restaurant they have out there in Kentucky. And I'm driving by, and right as I get close to the stoplight, here it happens. The first member of River City Church is waving. We have those sign flippers.
Yeah.
He's flipping a sign, and he's waving at me saying, "Church, welcome to church." And then you turn to the right, and there's people just smiling, waving signs,
Having
waving.
a good old time.
So you know where to go, and you
Yeah.
feel welcome. They say, "New guest this way." I park my car. When I parked my car, somebody comes up to say, "Hey, are you new here?" And I said, "Well, I've been here once before." And they say, "Oh, well, let me show you where to go." And then I walk into the church, and there are people greeting you. The coffee was awesome. The overhead music was great. The kids' service, my kids literally said this. And my kids said it when my wife was present so she could vouch for me. They said, "Can we go to church here every Sunday?"
Hey-o.
Because it was such a good experience.
Well, something that's really cool is we've met them. They're awesome people.
Yeah.
But I've never been to their church, but I'm like intimately know their workflow. Because
You're
like,
right.
it's on our wall, huge at our office, and I've shown it to clients when I'm teaching them how to create a workflow, even from like the parking area,
Yes.
what all systems they need in place and who they need there, all the way through the service and music, worship, and all the way to the accounting. Like I know their entire workflow, so it's kind of weird.
So as I was, it's an interesting thing, but as I was going through a really impossibly terrible travel experience, I had a great time at that church. I decided to catalog all of the bad things that happened during my trip, so that way I could make a training moment for the Thrivers. So when I first got to the airport, thing number one that was weird is all of the members of the TSA, okay, these are the guys who are the airport screeners. There was 5 people that I interacted with the Transportation Security Administration, 3 of which were either mean or incompetent. So 3 of 5, that's 60%. Then once I got to the actual airplane, they decided to turn off the air conditioning and to make us wait. Now, when you taxi or you move away from the gate, Paul, and you know that your passengers are going to be stuck on the plane for an hour or a half hour and they can't leave, would it not make sense to hop on the microphone and say, "Attention passengers, we apologize for the delay here. We'll turn on the air conditioning and we'll make we'll have a beverage cart coming down." But they don't do that.
Yeah, play bingo or something. Make
No
it
overhead
fun.
music, nothing. Now, I was on Southwest Airlines in Vegas where we got stuck. And this is what happened. They hop on the mic and they say, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're on Southwestern flight, yada, 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 yada. Unfortunately, we're going to be stuck here for about 20 minutes, and so we're going to pass by the beverage cart there. If you'd like a complimentary beverage or a yada, yada, or the yada, yada beverages are normally $5 for an alcoholic beverage. However, for today's flight, they'll only be $2 a piece." And they were like accommodating.
Yep.
They were nice. The passenger hopped to the microphone. He was hilarious. He goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are looking outside the window, I want you to understand that I could actually walk faster than we're currently driving. And so currently it'll take us," and he was really funny. He hops on the mic and goes, "Currently it would take us 217 hours to make it to Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's 217 hours if you're thinking about walking." But he's just joking with you.
Right.
I am not exaggerating. We're on the plane, hot as could possibly be, no overhead music, no beverages, nothing's going well. So I decided to wave at my daughter at 5:48. I wrote this in my little journal. I waved at my daughter at 5:48. And a lady who's wearing a Notre Dame sweatshirt and she has Bob Saget's nose, from Full House, she thinks that I'm hitting on her, so she gives me the stink eye. And I'm like, "Hey, everybody." And I realized she thinks I'm waving her, so I thought that was kind of weird. And so that right there has nothing to do with the airlines. It's just kind of a weird occurrence. So when we land in Dallas. We get to Dallas, and they inform us that they don't tell us until after the flight time is missed. So you have to go to a certain gate, and at a certain time, that's when your plane takes off, right? So it says you should be boarding the plane at like 6:20, right? It says you should be boarding for your flight. Your plane should take off at 6:15. At 6:20, they hop on the microphone and tell us that our plane is delayed after it was supposed to have left. The announcement is made over and over until my wife and I realize that mathematically it's not possible for us to ever get to Evansville that day. So the angry mob of passengers goes to the front desk to get help or relief or feedback. They have one person staffed to work, and I'm not exaggerating. There's like over 180 passengers on a standard 737 flight, and there's one person. So my wife and I took to the 1-800 number we call, and we decided to get on a Louisville, Kentucky flight. So we're not going to go to Evansville. Now we have to go to Louisville, which means we won't get to Louisville, Kentucky until midnight. But at least we could drive to Evansville and get there by 2 a.m. as opposed to missing our speaking engagement and our workshop with the church. So my wife and I and the kids, we make our way to the new gate, and we set up camp and wait for the 2-hour delay. And I spot the obligatory screaming baby, which you have to have one of those at every gate. So the baby's, "Nyeh, nyeh." And I'm going, this is awesome. This is good. So 6:40, I mentally try to prepare myself to, just kind of get ready to
find a happy place.
Right. And everyone, and all the adults are kind of scheming for a place to plug in their electronic devices because they've all been delayed. At 7 o'clock, my anxiety begins to escalate, and it temporarily spikes as I discover one of those guys wearing a medical mask. There's people always wearing a medical mask, but they don't ever play music in the airport. There's no overhead music. Do you realize this? If you go to In the Raw to a restaurant today, to a nice restaurant, they're going to be playing nice overhead music to create an ambiance conducive to relaxation.
Not
if you go to a
sterile.
spa. But these guys keep it absolutely quiet. And I don't know, have you seen this?
Everything's lined in tile.
Paul, does it not create tension when it's absolute silence at the airport and you have no idea when your flight's going to leave or not leave? There's no announcements, no communication. Does it not absolutely freak you out?
It absolutely does. It's a symptom, or I guess a result of them just not caring. When you know that you're going to have a job tomorrow or a business tomorrow, no matter how you treat that person, they don't see us as clients or as guests or whatever.
Nuisances.
That's exactly. Just hurry up and get it done and go home. They don't have that. But you know what, Clay? Every time the government gets involved with anything, they screw it up.
Right.
Yeah, you look at our schools.
Every time.
You look at colleges, you look at schools.
And this is not a Republican or Democrat thing. It's just a universal pattern.
Yeah. This country was built on free enterprise and the profit incentive. And when you have profit incentive, you have to please. And without that profit incentive, they don't care.
So as an example, Howard Schultz, Chuck, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
You're good.
Howard Schultz with Starbucks says Starbucks coffee is the #1 purveyor of coffee in the world. We are here to educate and enhance the best customer experience. Therefore, they have great overhead music. They have great decor. They have great customer service. Therefore, the airport does not, because it is a government entirely owned or subsidized entity. That's why these airlines are freaking disasters, Chuck.
Well, and with a small business, that's where we step in, because we help business owners all the time audit their own business, learn how to mystery shop themselves.
Tell me a tale of a business that's doing well.
Oh, a business that's doing well. These guys over at Onyx Imaging, they do printer service, printer repair, office supplies.
Preach it. Cleanse the land of negativity.
They've got their customer. Wow, their service is impeccable. They're fast. They if your printer's broken, they'll bring you a loaner. They'll just bring it out to you for free.
Have we switched to them yet for our supplies?
Yes, yeah.
We are?
They got the paper. They did printer. They got all of our stuff.
Wait a minute.
Working.
We've switched to Onyx.
On paper and all printer supplies.
We switched to them.
They're using them.
We made the switch.
We made the switch.
Yes. Yes.
And so the point is, the owners that are out there hustling every day, they have that customer wow experience in their head, but they never took the time or knew to take the time and put that into a documented system. And now what we're focusing on a lot is training up that next round of salespeople.
They didn't know how to do it.
Exactly. And now they do, and they're finding huge success with it.
So if you have a business right now that's under $1 million a year of revenue, or $1 million to $2 million, and you want to scale what's working, we can help you build a systemic. Think about Phone Doctors. There's 11 locations now. Think about Elephant in the Room. There's 3 locations. Think about Tip Top Canine. There's multiple locations. So what you want to do is you want to create a customer service experience focused on creating a high net promoter score.
Yes.
What does it mean to have a high net promoter score? It means when the customer is wowed, they will typically go and tell other people. And the problem is with the airlines, you can't fire them because there's no other alternatives.
Problem is it's a bad wow, and they're still telling everybody.
I mean, you can't go anywhere else.
Right.
So when we come back, we're going to walk you through the specific steps needed to create a high net promoter score. If you want to create a customer experience that wows, stay tuned. Thrivetime Show on your radio.